Welcome to the Recovery Centered Podcast, the space for honest conversation about healing, hope, and the journey through mental health and addiction recovery. Each episode, we sit down with people making a difference, from therapists and researchers to change makers and to survivors. Now, to explore what recovery really looks like in the world. This podcast is produced in collaboration with Beachway Therapy Center. Hello, everybody. Welcome to another podcast of the Recovery Centered. We are fortunate to be here with our guest today, Natalia. Natalia, thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for having me.
It's an honor to have you here. Natalia is just an amazing person. Not only is she a licensed mental health counselor, but she's also deeply and behind the scenes
Yeah.
in so many ways, but especially with our first responders.
Mhm.
And it's an honor to have you
Thank you.
here, and to have somebody, um, drive 3 hours to be here. I have to say it.
Yeah.
Like, I just can't believe I
Yeah.
have access to people like you,
Thank you.
that are willing to do whatever it takes, just
Mhm.
like a first responder is willing to do whatever it
Yeah.
takes, to get the word out, to reach that one person, because
Mhm.
that's always my goal here
Yeah.
is, whether I'm booking, the appointment for the guest, or I'm talking to somebody, it's
Yeah.
just, how do I reach that one person? Because I'm a recipient of that one person,
Exactly.
19 years ago, that I finally went click,
Mhm.
and everything from then, and here I am. A couple
Yeah.
more weeks, it'll be 19 years from me since I made it out of that dark hole.
Yeah.
So I'm really, really blessed. And as a Marine,
Mhm.
they merge, right?
Yeah.
Police officers, first responders, serve. We serve,
Yeah.
and we don't think twice, because we put our name on the line.
Mhm. It's part of the routine.
Part
Becomes your structure.
It does, right?
Yeah.
So
And you
blessed.
made quite the impression too, so I made the drive.
Well, thank you. Yeah, we've had some history, Natalia and I,
Yeah.
prior. I think it's just boiled down to, game recognizes game, real
Mhm.
recognizes real, and when somebody's putting their money where their mouth is and when they're not. And that's
Yeah.
okay. Like, if
Yeah.
they're not, that's okay too.
Exactly.
There's plenty of people like you out there.
Yeah.
So say hello to everybody, podcast land,
Yeah.
and
Hi, everyone.
tell
Nice
us,
to be here.
yeah, tell us a little bit about yourselves,
Yeah.
and so people can get a little idea of what's up.
Yeah. Well, as Tim said, I drove all the way from Naples today, and I'm a mom of three, married to a law enforcement officer for the last 16 years down in Collier County. I'm on the peer support team of Naples Police Department,
Woo!
and
Naples.
I'm the EAP provider for Sarasota Fire and a couple other networks. I'm just, like you said, just trying to get the word out
Mm.
there, show them that competent providers can be reachable, accessible in my little minivan and everything. And I think the point that you brought up too, Tim, is if you're not okay with treating first responders, you don't have to do it. It's not a fit for all
Mm,
therapists kind of
mm,
thing.
yeah,
It takes a different kind of brain mentality to work and understand the trauma and the history of the first responder
yeah. Yeah, I
and their
love
home
that.
side of it too.
I
So,
love the way you brought up history.
mhm.
Wow, that's really intriguing. Can you
Mm,
can you get into that a little bit more? Because somebody might be doing the same
yeah.
thing, going, "What history? Huh?" Like, that was
Yeah.
awesome. Yeah, I love that.
Well, I think the biggest history that comes up to mind first is like the history of the firefighter mustache, right? The
Ah,
the
yeah,
why they have the mustache, why they grow it so big sometimes, and it's the only it could be sometimes the only facial hair that the person has.
correct.
From what I've heard previously with some of my clinicians and their spouses is their spouses sometimes would say, just shave it off. I hate it. I don't like it. And they don't understand the history and the
Mm,
cultural aspect of why that mustache might be important to that person and to that organization.
agree,
So just
100%.
educating that. And then also for the clinicians, I have a few interns under my belt that I keep track with. And I
Yeah,
tell them, if you don't like the first responder community, it's okay. Don't force yourself to like it just because you see that there's a need,
yeah. Well,
because it's not for everybody.
it will show up down the
Yeah.
road too, that you're just like,
Yeah.
you're not a fit. Like, yeah, don't
Mhm.
don't do so. There's no authenticity in that.
Yeah. And it showed to me when I still recall the first person that I sat across that was a homicide detective, and
No.
I was crying with him, and I was
Oh,
like, this is not okay.
yeah,
And I
yeah,
apologized, and we ended the session. And That's what promoted me to get trainings, to get
Uh-huh.
acknowledged. And
Well, I
what does
love
my husband go through? What does the community of first responders go through?
now when you were when you took on this person's
Hmm.
situation, you had that transference.
Yeah.
Were you married to your husband or still
Yeah.
at that point?
Yeah. That was only about 3 years ago that this happened.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But
Wow.
from his side of the stories, it was like a spouse receiving like the news snippets, right?
Yeah, yeah,
The story that this individual gave me was a full on from arrival to the
yeah.
scene to
Right.
the end of the scene. And it's just
Yeah.
unheard of full story of what the first responder sees and deals with.
Excuse me. And a lot of people don't realize too, that it's after the call.
Hmm.
First responders are the bravest people I know.
Yeah.
Military in a lot of situations are the bravest people I
Hmm.
know. They sign their name on these dotted lines, and
Yeah.
whether something happens or not, that's not what I look at. I don't boil it down to that. Oh, you weren't in combat. Well, I was willing to go to combat.
Yeah.
Or police officer. Sometimes
Hmm.
and to know people and to work with people that really know the power of after the call
Hmm.
process, the power of after the call,
Yeah.
because like you said, I'm sure your husband goes from, well, I know he goes from 0 to 100 over and over and
Yeah.
over and over. And then, after 8, 10 hours just to drive in the driveway
Hmm.
and boop,
Yeah.
turn that off. Like,
Takes a lot of skill that I've helped him ingrain into him, as a spouse and as a therapist.
yeah, I love
I
that.
try to kind of put snippets of therapy stuff into him. And, he does a really, really good job now. We've been together 16 years. We have 3 kiddos. And he does a really good job with the minute he parks in the driveway and he brings that coffee mug in, he's dad, he's
I
husband,
love,
he
yeah,
might
that's
have a
wonderful.
SWAT call out here and there, but and then that when the switch turns back on
Yeah,
again. But
yeah, yeah, yeah.
99% of the time, he's
That's wonderful.
decompressed within 5 minutes of arriving to the house.
It's amazing how resilient we are, isn't
Hmm.
it? Like, regardless of the circumstance, situation, environment,
Yeah.
how we can just adjust like that.
Yeah.
However, not everybody has a committed wife, a
Hmm.
committed therapist, a
Yeah.
culturally competent therapist,
Hmm.
because it's still a skill set, like you said, right?
Yeah.
Like they have training,
Hmm.
and without training,
Yeah.
a therapist has a lot of training. My wife's
Yeah.
an LCSW. I know what she's done.
Yeah.
It's all in the training, and to have a wife that can train you these little disciplines
Hmm.
or that turn into humongous disciplines,
Yeah.
right? To be able to come from the job home and be dad. I mean, to me, that's huge.
Hmm. Yeah.
And most people can't do that.
Yeah.
And I like to know why. Like for me, I don't
Hmm.
want to be disrespectful in any way, but I think there needs to be a shift. I think it is shifting
Yeah. I think
culturally.
they're
The
more
man
open-mindedness to
they're
it
getting
now.
a little more because when you look at the statistics,
Hmm.
Palm Beach County here, that's just, we're in Palm Beach County.
Yeah. I learned that 2 exits ago.
We have here one of the highest death by suicide rates
Hmm.
out of any other county in Florida for first responders.
Wow.
So, I'm involved in this
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
And, part of that involvement a couple months ago was traveling 100 miles on my
Hmm.
feet. And
Yeah,
I
which
made
was
sure,
incredible. I
yeah,
followed it on Facebook,
did
out of my
you?
feet.
And I made sure, how can I possibly fit in
Hmm.
as many stops as possible
Yeah.
so I can get in front of people and say this.
Yeah.
I'm not telling you what to do. I'm not telling you to change anything. All I'm looking at is the statistics.
Hmm.
And I want to be another kitchen table,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
we don't have we have clinicians
Yeah.
that are committed.
Hmm.
It's one, like you said, your husband's one of the bravest people I know. And I don't even know him, but I know him.
Yeah.
And I know what he has to do. And I know his focus is
Hmm.
intense. Not everybody can do it.
Yeah.
That's a very few amount, small percent.
Yeah.
Um, but to ask for help
Hmm.
is one of the boldest things I know.
Yeah.
And actually, it's so bold that most of us can't do it, and that's what I made sure I would always tell at all these stops.
Mhm.
It's one of the boldest things I know because I know we like challenges.
Yeah.
It's kinda like when I work with alkies and addicts, you know?
Yeah.
"Well,
Yeah.
let's prove it to me." Oh,
Yeah.
they love that word.
Mhm. And you bring up a great point. So when I do my consultations, whether it's for EAP, someone reaching out, or even a peer support or anything, or a new client finds me on Psychology Today or something, I always tell them if they're first responder, I say, you just made the hardest decision and you're done. You're done
Nice.
with the hardest decision, just pushing that green button to call. I
Nice.
said, from here on, if you choose to stay with me, things will be easier because I can create a plan. I can help guide you. We don't have to all the time talk about just you and your work and your ugly sides. We
Mm.
can talk about the happy things that make you happy.
Yeah.
Where were you 5 years ago that you might want to be 5 years from now
Mm.
in the mental state? Or I'll even divulge some things about me within,
Yeah.
appropriateness.
Yeah, yeah.
But I always try to make sure to tell them how grateful I am for the resilience that they have to push that call button
Yeah.
because I can't do that for them. I can't say,
Yeah.
Tim, you're calling a therapist today. Tim has to call the therapist. And
100%.
that's where the biggest step takes. And that's where I can feel their tension ease on the phone or if it's
Yeah,
in
yeah.
person, you made the call, you showed up at my
Yeah.
office, and now it's my turn to take some of that load off.
They know the truth too.
Mhm.
I think we all do. I don't know why a lot of
Yeah.
us are just we're so resistant to the truth. I
Mhm.
don't know why. I think for me, if you asked me that question, I'd be like, well, it's our programming.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah,
I was taught to lie for
yeah.
something or whatever, and I've been
Mhm.
doing a lot of it ever
Yeah,
since.
yeah.
you know, you know,
Yeah.
like a member of the Good and Fine Club.
Mhm.
How you doing? Good.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, inside I'm crumbling.
Mhm.
So, you have a very unique space, man. You hold a lot of stuff for other people,
Yeah.
and is there any tips for because like I said, it's all clinicians on here,
Mhm.
innovators, case managers, people in the healthcare field,
Yeah.
in the realm, a lot of first responders listen. Is there any tips for self-care that you do as a
Yeah.
culturally competent?
Yeah. I'd say find like for me, have a co-therapist friend that if I have a dark day or a trauma-filled day, I'll call her and just say, "Hey, listen to some of this stuff that I worked on and how can you help me move forward?"
Mm.
And taking that load off on somebody who's trusting, who's also HIPAA bound. Obviously, that's
Yeah.
important to us.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
And then just processing, what steps can I take next? Did I take the right
Yeah,
steps?
yeah.
If a client chooses to not come back to you because maybe they're not ready to work on something
Correct.
or they just hit a rock bottom and I can't get them out of there unless
Mm,
they get themselves out of there. So just having that trusting person to talk to and
mm.
confide into, um, non-client related stuff, it's my husband. Obviously I can't divulge any client stuff to him.
Yeah, yeah.
And
Yeah.
then also self-care. Recently, I've joined a gym for
Yeah,
real, and
that's what's up.
my body is showing it and it's hurting. But I would say that's the biggest self-care because we preach that to everybody, right?
Mm,
We preach that in the organizations, we preach it on Facebook, but doing it yourself is actually something that's really going to help pump
mm,
those juices, get your brain thinking, and you can turn some of that therapy analytical brain off and you can be just a gym bro or a
mm.
gym femme bod person,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
then journaling. I really push journaling and I
yeah,
have two different journals. I have my own personal journal of kids, family,
yeah,
life.
yeah, yeah.
And then I have a therapeutic journal where, if I talk to someone with a pediatric call, how did that affect me? Because
Mm.
I have three kids. I can see my kids being in some of those scenarios,
Yeah,
you
sure.
know?
I
So I
mean
try to have two different journals where I can process the dark side and I can
mm,
process the positive sides and always end my day with the positive journal.
yeah, I
What
love
are my
that.
gratitudes today?
Yeah, and I love the gym too because it's like I haven't been back since COVID.
Mhm.
It's just one of those things, but
Yeah.
I thank God I still walk a lot
Mhm.
and I run at least 2 times a week and
Yeah.
it's really important. I tell people I'm working with the same thing,
Yeah.
you got to get some activity going, whether
Mhm.
it's a walk, it's something
Yeah.
because I guess the body's a machine, right?
Yeah.
And in a way,
Yeah.
and
And your
it
brain is a
needs
machine, so you need to educate your brain
yeah,
and your body too.
yeah. So this team, New York, is it?
No,
L-
NPD, Naples Police.
I mean, excuse me, Nate.
Yeah,
uh,
it's Team Blue. Blue
Yeah, it's
Thunder.
hard read.
Yeah.
Okay. What is that? Like,
It's the Naples Police Department. They made these shirts for a competition they did a few years ago with some of the local organizations. I think they played dodgeball against different
ah,
organizations.
oh, I love that. Like a
And
fundraiser or just a
that's what it
camaraderie
was.
thing?
A fundraiser, I think,
Yeah,
to support the organizations, the nonprofit organizations down in Collier.
yeah,
And I was telling the chief, I said, "Hey, chief, is it okay if I mention Naples Police Department on the
yeah,
podcast
yeah,
and the fact that I'm a part of you guys' peer support team?" And he said, "The more the merrier of
yeah.
people knowing about it, the
Go
more
Chief.
changes can happen."
Yeah.
And he said, "Hey, what are you wearing to the podcast?" And I said, "I don't know, probably my blue jumper." And he came out with this shirt, and I said, "Sure, you got it." So here I am in
Yeah,
their shirt representing Naples Police Department.
yeah,
They were the first ones to interview me and then really see the need and the want of the people of the department to need that mental health side of it because peer teams are an amazing, incredible thing. And my captain over in Sarasota Fire is trying to get one off the ground too.
I
But
love it.
the way that I tie into it is that I'm not bound by the department. I'm not,
Mm,
hired by the department. I don't have to go report to the chief, to the captain, or anybody else.
love that.
And I'm triple HIPAA bound too. So I'm more so bound to keep the secret, to keep the peer check-in of whatever's happening. And I think that's really showing a significant change in the department where people will reach out to me for other
Yeah,
sessions or even check-ins,
yeah,
walk at the park, go get,
yeah,
coffee or something. I've had a few come by into my new little office space up in the art studio and
yeah.
just checking in with me. And I think just building that rapport.
You're a trusted servant.
Yeah. And
And
then
that's the biggest thing.
monthly, I release a video to them, and I call it Tactical Check-in, and I just do self-care, motivational things.
Yeah,
This month was a little heavier topic. It was talking about PTSD and first responders
yeah,
because I'm not going to just talk about the good stuff. I have
yeah,
to talk about the
yeah,
ugly
for
stuff
sure.
too.
Yeah, well, it's part of the reality, and to
Hmm.
deny the reality, I think people get sicker.
Yeah.
Look, this is a tough gig, man.
Hmm.
First responders is a tough gig. Nobody, you have an idea,
Hmm.
but an idea is a lot different than when you first show up on the scene.
Yeah.
And they're two different
Yeah.
identities. Like,
Yeah.
and I try to get across.
Hmm.
It's not about this.
Yeah.
It's just not.
Yeah.
That we already have established.
Hmm.
You Like I said 5 minutes ago, they're some of
Yeah.
the bravest people I
Yeah.
know. They're still a human being behind the badge.
Hmm.
And I personally, unless I'm wrong or you have a different take or somebody else does that wants to email, I don't think we're designed to do that stuff
No.
day in and day out. I just don't think,
No, that's where the burnout comes in. That's
right?
where the desensitization comes in too, where if you're doing it on and on and on over and over again and you just detach any feelings of it, then you become like a machine
Mm,
to do it.
mm,
So I want to make sure that the officers and the police officers and the captains and the firefighters, all first responders, including dispatchers,
yeah.
they're all aware that just taking those calls, just doing those calls and dealing with the families doesn't have to be done on repeat without any self-care.
Mm,
And part of that could be just coming into my office once a week or doing a telehealth session and just venting out what you've
mm,
dealt with, venting out what's holding you, maybe
yeah.
from sleeping, right? Because we know sleep is crucial. And then just there may not be any therapeutic per se work that we do, but more of just a venting session of just checking in and
Mm,
this is what I dealt with. This is the calls that I've had. I had 6 after midnight, and then they're better off going home to their families. They're better off and being able to decompress and become mom, dad,
yeah.
whoever they
Yeah,
need
and
to
that's a
be.
skill set too,
Hmm.
right? That's like a certain discipline,
Yeah.
like recovery in general. We
Hmm.
just broad, like
Yeah.
regardless of what you're recovering from, if you're recovering from something, it wasn't serving you well,
Yeah.
So that's irrelevant. But um, do you have a theory why a lot of these attacks come at night during sleep?
I
Like
think it's because we're relaxing. A lot of our mind is focused on structure during the day, right? Like
mm,
this morning, I woke up, I got ready,
mm,
and my structure was put one headphone in, listen to my audiobook, and just drive, follow from road to road to road to
mm,
come over here. That was my structure.
mm,
But then when I got into the parking lot, my brain was done being under structure, and then I was like, oh. wow, I left the oven on, right? Our thoughts can creep in. Our thoughts can come in when we're relaxing, when we don't have something to keep us busy.
Mm,
So one thing that I'll also check in on is, are you working too much overtime? Now that's not mandatory overtime because we know that one you can't say no to.
mm,
But are you picking up a lot of extra shifts? Are you doing a second job or second hobby, and you're not purposely allowing yourself to have downtime? Because that could be an avoidance of what's sitting in here that
mm.
could be bothering you.
So that could be like a conscious thing, like, I don't wanna
Hmm.
sit home, or a
Yeah.
subconscious thing,
Yeah.
right? Like, either way, it's like it's almost kinda I don't know, like you're continuously getting bombarded,
Hmm.
whether it's
Yeah.
sub or conscious, right? Like,
Yeah. And then in sleep is when, we're the most relaxed and our brain can say, "Oh, but remember this? Oh, but remember that? Remember we heard this, we saw this." So educating them on sleep
mm,
hygiene
mm,
really, really helps too, because I have a few right now that I'm working with. And we're praising just an increase of an additional hour of sleep. So going from 3 consistent hours to 4, we're praising that. We're doing, what is it
mm,
that's working for you? And that's positive journaling before bed. For him too is an hour before bed, he does physical exercise. So he exhausts his body and his mind, and then he goes to bed, showered, fed, and, no phone screens, no TV screens.
just
And that
lights
seems
out
to
kinda
help
thing.
him. Yeah, just to wipe him out and
Mm.
get him to go back to sleep. And it really helps.
Do you find that, like, I mean, I guess, like, trauma's trauma, we all have our own
Hmm.
kind of trauma or
Yeah.
right? Do you find a lot of
Hmm.
crossover or a lot of integration with a military trauma versus a police officer trauma?
Hmm.
Is there a difference, like, do they have different, I don't know, different attacks, different processes, different thoughts, different, like.
I think so far in my experience of clients, it's been very similar. So I've
Mm,
had a few clients that are ex-military and are first responders. And their stories from both of those lifestyles were very similar,
gotcha.
and sleep seems to be the weakest point,
Mm,
and or daytime triggers. So obviously if you were deployed out of the country at an intersection where you may have had to take action, right?
mm,
You're not going to come across it here in Florida.
mm,
But if you're a first responder, one of the things that I commonly hear is, I avoid this intersection at all costs
right.
because that's where a tragic accident
Mm,
happened. And they have auditory hallucinations of it, or they'll have a visual, and they avoid it at all cost. And
mm,
then I give them the offering of, hey, we don't have to avoid it. We don't have to be triggered. We can do ART therapy or EMDR therapy, and then slowly work through exposing you to that intersection to where
mm.
you can be okay to go through it. You might have to still hold your breath a little bit, but you can be okay to go through it without going into a panic mode.
So, I guess to boil it all down,
Mhm.
um, teach them to the best of your ability and what they're willing to receive, how to manage it
Yeah.
kinda thing, right? It's
Yeah,
like
how to overcome it and
how to
become
overcome it.
resilient. Yeah.
So ART is?
Accelerated resolution therapy. So it's a modified version of EMDR. So on average, to work out a traumatic experience, EMDR could take between 6 to 8 sessions. Whereas ART, it has two different scripts that I follow as a clinician, and I can clean up a traumatic experience in one, maybe 2 sessions, depending on how
Amazing.
deep it is.
You're such an
And it's just
amazing
with hand
person.
movements. I wave at you close.
Really?
Yeah.
That's
Or I also have a light up pen that looks like a DUI pen that I
uh,
took from my husband.
uh,
And I'll hold that in my fingers. So then if a person has a hard time following my
uh,
fingers, I can have a light illuminating my fingers to have them follow it.
amazing. Can you do that virtually, or does it have to be done in person? Or you can, but it's not as good as in person?
I can do it virtually. I have a way to send 2 links so then you follow a ball across the screen.
Ah.
But for me, when I'm processing the traumas with the client, I like to see how they're
Mm.
reacting, how they're processing it, because in the screen, it's harder to see if you're welling up,
Yeah,
because if you're welling up, I'd like to hold you there more and,
yeah, for
in a
sure.
way, torture you is how a friend of mine said it. But that's how we get it past it, right?
Yeah,
Because we can sometimes build a wall and say, "I'm only
yeah,
gonna go to this point." But if I see that you're building that wall, you can keep following
mm,
my fingers and break that wall and
mm.
work harder and faster through the trauma.
So it's really like creating a different pattern or
Mhm.
movement up in the brain, right?
Yeah.
Like it's
And
just
it follows a script, and it basically, I can't give too much information about it because we have to sign a form on it, but
yeah.
you basically recreate the image and you remove the pain from the image.
Okay.
So anything you may have held
Mm,
physiologically, but you keep the images of it, you keep the memory of it. So if the client comes in and they're having chest pains, sweaty hands, shaky legs, I can clean all those things up while talking you through the scenario you're in.
incredible.
And then that scenario, you can see it, but then you don't have any of the physiological
Mm,
reactions. And when I got trained in it, we actually had to go through it ourselves as clinicians.
mm,
So there's just two scenes that I cleaned up and I can think about them and I have zero reaction. Whereas when I had them done in June of last year, I was crying
yeah.
just thinking about it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it works incredibly. And
Yeah.
I know for first responders too, if you haven't been through it, they're not going to most likely believe you or trust you. So I do disclose to them, hey, this stuff works.
Mm,
I've been through it.
mm,
And I'll tell them a little piece of what I've been through
yeah.
just to show them, hey, I'm
Yeah.
still standing here and I'm still talking to you guys and
Yeah.
it works and give
Uh,
it a try.
yeah, and I think they probably can feel it from you too because
Hmm.
like you believe in it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and people pick up on stuff like that, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, they just do.
Yeah.
'Cause so many people are just so full of doubt. Of course, for me, I think everything boils down to fear,
Hmm.
and, I just try my best, as simple as I can. Because for me, I found the power in the simplicity, not the complexity.
Yeah.
I just boil things down.
And that's why I like the ART because EMDR to me, uh, the length of it, it could make the client go, well, this is taking forever. Because again, as first responders, right, we are quick to react. We need it done
But
now. I
now.
want it cleaned up tomorrow,
Yeah, or
right?
yesterday.
Yesterday. Yeah, I want it cleaned up like now. I want to get back on the job. And especially if they're on FMLA or
Mm,
leave from work, they want to get cleaned up as quick as possible so they can go back to work.
yeah,
So ART really does a great job with cleaning up the memory, cleaning up the images of it, and then taking away the physiological
mm.
reactions of it. And I think that's, to me, I just love watching it in person, how it works.
Yeah, I mean, it's really cool because I'm thinking, man, I got this person in front of me. Like, some people might be going, I can't believe how intrigued she is, like, or how, like,
I know. I've had a
but it's just so
client.
cool.
Yeah.
Like,
I had a client 2 weeks ago that we did ART with, and, she started with just crying, bawling out her eyes, and I'm just like, "Hey, we're gonna get through it, just
yeah,
one step at a time.
yeah, yeah.
Create a 20-second thing, and we'll go from there." Just I followed the script, and by the end of it, she was doing the closing parts of the session, and she was laughing. I was like, "What are you laughing at?" She's like, "I can't see his face anymore." I'm like, "Good,
Oh my
let's go for
gosh.
it." I said, "You were just crying like a baby 45 minutes
Yeah.
ago." And she
How,
laughed at me. She's like, "And you're cool with that?" And I said, "Yes, it brings me joy when
yeah,
you go from crying to happy."
yeah,
It's a
100%.
dark humor
It's
thing.
like, yeah, but it's like mission accomplished kind
Yeah,
of thing, right?
yeah.
Like, because, yeah, I mean, what a cool story that is. I mean, I'm going to give you an opportunity at the end of the podcast to let others know how you can get in touch with Natalia, but I think that's incredible.
Yeah.
There's so many things that people will give value to
Mhm.
and will believe,
Yeah.
you, you know?
Yeah.
And then on the other side of that coin,
Mhm.
it's amazing to me what people won't give
Yeah.
value to
Mhm.
or won't believe in.
Yeah.
Like
Mhm.
I need hardcore fat. I did
Yeah.
and it's sometimes it's not really an intellectual process.
Yeah.
And in fact, a lot of times it's not.
Yeah.
And it's not willpower
Mhm.
because for the person that said I'll never drink again, drinks the next day
Yeah.
or what, it's about to me, I'm here I heard that woman that you were just
Yeah.
it was 100% willingness.
Yeah.
Because I believe willingness will take you more places than
Mhm.
all that other stuff ever will. Because I work with a lot of bright people.
Yeah.
Because everybody's
Absolutely.
got worth and
Yeah.
everybody's got creative intelligence. That's I. That's really not the problem. Because if it
Mhm.
was, you wouldn't be in the situation you're in.
Yeah.
Because you would stop just like you do at the red light,
Mhm.
or you wouldn't put your hand on the hot stove. Like that's intellect to
Yeah.
me.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I just keep over and over and over
Mhm.
and doing the same thing. It's like,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
So now you got me going, and I could go with you for a while for sure. Well, I love this stuff, and you're giving me a
Yeah.
great opportunity
Yeah.
to get that one person. I don't know,
Yeah.
you might have somebody reach out to you. It's not wouldn't be the first time after a
Yeah.
podcast. Um, what moved you into this space?
Honestly, some of my own stuff,
Okay.
um,
I got you.
originally through high school, I wanted to be an architect because that's what my mother drilled in my mind is you want to go make thousands of dollars, be rich for the rest of your
I
life.
get that.
I did drafting in high school, which I was happy that they offered that as a class, and
Mm.
I did really well in it, got certified in it.
No,
Did a year of interior design school to think, this is what I want to be. I want to pick people's colors and design
yeah,
their offices and their
yeah.
homes. And then down the road, my husband and I, we had some rough patches here
Yeah,
and
yeah,
there with
yeah,
trying to have a family and things.
yeah,
And then I took a back seat of me, seeing what I want to be career
yeah,
wise
yeah,
and decided we both uniquely decided we want to raise a family. We want to focus on having me at home, create that stability at
yeah,
home for them.
yep,
And then he does the job. He did all his five-ish different hats that he tried on, being different
yep,
varieties of the sheriff's office down
yeah,
there. And me being home and being a stability with the family is what really allowed him to go and venture out and see what he's good at. And he's good at a lot of things, apparently.
yeah.
And then, once the kiddos got to be school age, our youngest is 7 now. I went back to got my master's in psychology, mental
Love
health
it,
clinician,
love
and
it. Ah,
did my internships at a school, internship at a crisis unit, and really realized that the third placement was really where I wanted to be, and that was with an EAP organization down in Collier and
mm,
providing those services to the firefighters and
yeah.
sheriff's office. And
Yeah, boy, I can't help myself with what I'm about to say, but that's hashtag real shit right there. That's what I love about
yeah,
so many people in this space. There's
yeah,
always that personal and professional
hmm,
and just that drive. Like it takes a certain person to
yeah,
do what you're doing, to get the education, to create the discipline,
hmm,
the dedication. Like there's so many moving parts
yeah,
to a clinician, that a lot of people don't think about,
yeah,
or I mean, I get it too. There's so many things I don't know either, but I do know about this, and that's what feel so grateful and
yeah,
fortunate to be able to have a podcast where we
hmm,
can reach people and just get them a little because you hear it, I'm sure,
yeah,
and I hear all the time because I work in the field like Natalia. I'm in the treatment portion of it, but I hear
hmm,
so why do you treat yourself so poorly?
yeah,
And I hear 99.9% of the time, I don't know.
yeah,
And I always just after a while, because I'm almost 19 years in this space. After a while, it's just like, my gosh, I can't stand this. I don't know anymore.
yeah,
Like I'm gonna do. I saw, school. I
hmm,
read everything. Well, I read the whole weekend this weekend.
yeah,
You
yeah,
know, because I just simply put in my head one day, gosh, I can only imagine what would happen in Talia's world if she began to know.
yeah,
So there's my duty. There's my calling. I'm gonna
hmm,
keep no. And it's amazing. So, like,
yeah.
I feel so fortunate that I can bring people like you
Yeah.
so people get to know,
Yeah. Yeah.
and that's the gift.
Yeah. The biggest drive as to why I switched from making money as an architecture, which I could down in Naples,
Yeah.
to mental health was, a few years of talking to my husband and just really realizing what would make me happy.
Uh,
And the question that popped in during one of my journaling days was, what made me who I am? What made me the strong person that I was before?
mm.
And with that was the recovery of coming to this country from Russia as a 12-year-old.
Oh, wow.
And that was a lot of PTSD, a lot of trauma, a lot of,
Heck yeah.
cultural adjustments and everything that
Yeah.
I
Oh,
said
wow.
that therapist is what made me happy. That therapy
Mm.
process of several years of being in therapy and doing trauma work on myself with that
Yeah.
therapist
Were you
is
on
what
your
made me happy.
Were you on your own or did you come with family
I
too?
came adopted from the Arctic Circle by
Oh,
Finland
wow.
to
Got you.
Naples, Florida.
Oh my
Cruel, cruel
gosh, man, what a
to the
warrior
Florida,
miracle you are.
to the Florida weather. I still
Holy
don't like the heat.
You
It's been
see, yeah, I don't
22 years.
yeah, I'm not big on it either.
Yeah,
I've never I mean, I love Florida, it's been very good to me. I
yeah,
like a lot of things, but I need that cold
Yeah.
too, and I need a back road. No
Yeah.
offense, Florida. Everything's a grid,
Yeah.
It's northeast, south, north, south, east, west.
Yeah.
I miss the back roads
Mhm.
and the
Like the way
man.
I came here today.
Yeah, there's a couple turns,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
But,
Well,
wow,
mine, the biggest turn of it, my life was,
what a
saying, "Steve,
story.
this is what I wanna be. I wanna go to mental health school.
Wow.
I don't really care how much money I'm gonna make."
It's not
I knew the possibility of how much I could make, right? Because everybody has Google. But as I grow in this field, a lot of my friends will tell me, "Well, how come you're charging people under $100, when you work so hard for your license, when you can charge 200, 250?" And I said, "I'm not I'm working with first responders. I'm not in it to make the money out of you
yeah,
guys. I'm
yeah,
in it to get you guys into my office so that
yeah,
you can get help and pass the word on." And that's the biggest thing is like if anybody that I work with ART or EMDR, I have one in particular that I did EMDR with. I
yeah,
said, just whatever you do, go out there and talk to somebody. Tell somebody about EMDR. Tell somebody about
yeah,
therapy and how it works so then they can maybe consider it. And if you feel comfortable, share my name. If not, you don't have to share that you're in
yeah.
therapy, but just share it with somebody that you had a positive experience.
But you got, like, the perfect recipe for success. I mean, to me, you're the version of success to me because I
Mhm,
like my dad was a doctor in Manhattan. He came from Italy to Brooklyn
mhm.
in '53. My
Yeah.
mom came from England in '54 because they met at the Italian hospital in London,
Oh.
where my dad was doing his
Mhm.
residency. Same thing, all
Yeah.
about the money.
Mhm.
And my dad was very successful. He's clever like you. He loved being a doctor. But there was a lot of other things,
Mhm.
that he couldn't communicate.
Yeah.
And so, I grew up in this town in Jersey that was a very wealthy, because my dad was fairly well known in Manhattan as,
Mhm.
as Dr. Roberto, and grew up in this town. It was just so maybe not plasticky,
Yeah.
but there's more drugs there than there was in the hood.
Mhm.
They could just get away with it longer, dysfunction,
Yeah.
oh my God, it was crazy.
Yeah.
And I didn't want that. That's when I went into the Marine Corps, and everybody,
Mhm.
what the heck's wrong with you? You're Dr. Roberto, son, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
I said, I want to go see what the other half lives like.
Mhm.
I've always just been that kind of guy. That's my nature.
Yeah.
And I've been more successful in these 19 years than I ever have in my life.
That's awesome.
You
Yeah.
know, and you reminded me of that because that's what I see your success as
Mm.
too. Like you succeeded and overcome something that was big.
Mhm.
And same for me too.
Yeah.
And it's like you and I have these paths. Initially, it was the greatest thing that we ever succeeded at because
Mhm.
we overcame them,
Yeah.
you
It
know?
builds resilience, and then you can speak resilience because you've experienced it.
Yeah.
You're not a
Yeah.
fake somebody.
Yeah, but going back to what I said in the beginning, I think I said it, like game recognizes game and
Yeah.
real recognizes real. Like,
Mhm.
and you're sitting in front of somebody and,
Yeah.
oh, you got to do, and they're looking at you like, what, really? Like,
Yeah.
so they don't even know what they're talking about.
Mhm.
So, wow, that's really cool.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Wow. Holy cow. So now, like, I could see you with probably like growing a practice one of these days.
Yeah, that's my
Because
5-year plan or so,
yeah, because you seem like an organizer. I've had a lot
Yeah.
of people here we all start out somewhere,
Yeah. Yeah.
and then it was their jam. It
Mhm.
was their lane. It wasn't being an architect like
Yeah.
somebody wanted. My parents always shoved either medical or accounting down my
Mhm.
throat because I was kind of good at numbers,
Yeah.
but I hated accounting. But my
Mhm.
parent, and then you end up being resistant and blah blah.
Yeah.
You found your lane. I found my lane. I'm the most successful. So you might have a practice down the road, like
Probably. Once I get my
probably.
feet
I'll take that as a yes.
once I get my feet,
Yeah, get going.
I think the biggest thing that I made a big change in 2026, and I'm not sure if I mentioned that in our interview on the phone, but um, just left the last practice. I loved the chance that they gave me.
Mm,
No negative feelings there, but left the practice
mm,
because I wanted to be solely picking my own people, picking my own just first responders, and
gotcha.
then allocating time to go and spend time. Recently did 9 hours at dispatch in Sarasota County. Every other Monday or so, I try to drive up to Sarasota County, do sessions there. I rent an office there so the firefighters can come meet with me. They don't have to travel to Naples, to
Yeah,
meet with
yeah,
me.
yeah.
And then,
Because you're a doer.
yeah,
You're
and
a doer, Natalia. You're
yeah.
getting stuff done.
And then I'll finish the day with letting my captain friend know, hey, Tim, where do you want me?
Is his name literally Tim?
Yes, his
Oh, I
name is
love
Tim.
that. All right,
Love it.
Captain Tim.
Yeah. Two Tims that do everything for everybody else to help people
Yeah,
and the peer support. And he'll put me in a station. He'll get me a contact of a captain or somebody to
yeah,
ride with. And I have no fear getting on the rescue, getting on the trucks.
yeah,
And I
yeah,
think the biggest thing that helps me too is being welcomed to their dinner table. I think that's the biggest thing of the fire stations. And Drew Masters, can't not throw that name out there.
yeah.
He talks all about it.
So
As a
true.
clinician, if you can't stick it out through the shift and dinner, then they're gonna see you as a not you're not all in.
Yeah,
You're not the bucket
yeah,
full.
yeah. And
So
just think
staying for
about,
dinner and talking about sorry, talking about the calls that they may have ran and, maybe I was planning on leaving at 7, but now it's 9 p.m. and, "Hey, honey, I'm about to hit the road."
I can
You
totally
know?
relate to that. Yeah, because if you think about it,
Mhm.
if the kitchen tables at firehouses could
Yeah.
only talk,
Mhm.
and let's not forget the Leos that come to those kitchen tables at
Yeah.
the firehouses too. Well, because they drive a lot by themselves.
Mhm.
They might meet up,
Yeah.
at a parking lot or something with another brother or another sister, but
Mhm.
you know,
That's a big difference too, that I just recently talked about that to a colleague, is the difference between firefighters and, law enforcement is law enforcement, most of the time, you're by yourself in the car,
yeah,
right? You
yeah,
might have a shift of people that you're close with,
yep,
but then most of your shift, you're separated,
yep,
and then you might do check-ins. So one of the things that I really liked, when I did my ride times with Naples Police
yeah,
is every couple hours or so, they'll check in with each other.
yeah. I
The
love that.
sergeant might come out and check in on
Love
him,
it.
or they might go and do like a mid-shift
Yeah,
briefing back at the
yeah, yeah,
station.
yeah,
And just that camaraderie is really, really important because
yeah,
firefighters, they have that in the station, with the lunches that they might make together or the dinners for sure that
yeah,
they make together. And
yeah. It's
the
great.
conversations that you hear at dinner, it's like, don't treat me like a lady. I'm just a fly on the wall,
Yeah,
you know?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
There's nothing I haven't heard having an
Yeah,
18-year-old boy
yeah.
and my husband.
But that's still nice though. To me, that's still nice.
Mhm.
Like to me, it's they have a good feeling about you. I mean,
Yeah.
obviously a man for me
Mhm.
would be something that what you just said is very appropriate, right?
Yeah.
Whether you know the woman or not. I mean, for me, men, that's what we do,
Yeah.
and I think it's the right thing to do. But
Mhm.
I like the way they
Yeah.
yeah they do that approach with you.
Mhm.
But yeah, because it's all about connection. Like, what human
Mhm.
being doesn't want to be connected? I think we're born to be connected,
Yeah.
don't you? Like, we're
Yeah.
wired to be connected, no?
Yes. Yeah.
Um, I love that. I had a guy, I was walking for this organization
Mhm.
78 miles last year,
Mm.
and so I asked this guy was really getting deep because that's the part of this. It's called stomping out the stigma. I'm not.
Yes.
Why am
Yeah.
I protecting?
I love the organization.
Stomping out the stigma. It's a nonprofit that helps first responders.
Mhm.
First names only. No insurance. No EAP. EAPs are very important too. It just created another kitchen
Yeah.
table.
Yeah.
We just instead of salt, I think we said this to
Yeah.
have just no salt and pepper shakers, just clinicians that are culturally competent,
Yeah.
that are dedicated to helping a first responder, period.
Yeah.
So I was walking, it was down in the Fort Lauderdale or Hollywood area, and I said, "Man, I gotta do it. I gotta do it," because he was getting really deep.
Mhm.
And you could tell that's the whole point of the walk. It's just two
Yeah.
guys walking along.
Mhm.
And one guy, obviously, you might not know him, but he's in a way putting his money where his mouth
Yeah.
is. And so I just said, "Yeah, I got to go for it, man."
Yeah.
So I just said to him, I said, "Hey, can I ask you a personal question?" He's like,
Mhm.
"Yeah." And that's the way he said that. I was like, "Oh, man, you're already in. You got to keep going."
Yeah.
And I said, "What made you get so vulnerable with me?"
Mhm.
And he's like, "Are you serious?" So I'm like, "Ah, you blew it." I got insecure. What can I say? I'm vulnerable till I got insecure.
Yeah.
And I said, "Yeah."
Yeah.
He's like, "Dude, you're a Marine that
Mhm.
spiraled in the Marine Corps with your own mental health issues, you're doing this for us.
Mm-hmm.
You're about 30 something miles in. He goes, you
Yeah.
got 40 something to go.
Yeah.
And you're doing it for us. He goes, yeah, I felt comfortable with you.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, oh man.
Yeah.
And it was great. And
Like you
then,
said, game sees game.
yeah,
They could tell that you're doing it for a cause. You're not doing
yeah,
it for clicks.
yeah. But it's, you can just tell, like, if you experience, like, you have your own experience with it, obviously you're in it. I have my own experience with it, obviously, because I'm in it.
Yeah.
There's just something about that connection,
Yeah.
that space that one person is creating for another person, to where there's trust, there's safety, there's no, lack of judgment,
Yeah.
and somebody can just,
Yeah.
and you're just comfortable, like it's going to stay there. But at the same time, you needed that opportunity to,
Yeah.
there's
Yeah.
just something about that. I can't quite put my finger on.
Yeah.
It's like that creative intelligence
It's
beyond
the
knowledge,
not to be hippy dippy, but it's the aura that we put out too.
100%.
Because recently I've been on a
Hippie.
training.
Yeah.
Right. I know I've had somebody call me that because
Oh,
in my bag of tricks right here, I do have an essential oil that I'll use for clients
I love that.
that helps calm your polyvagal nerve.
Yeah.
Don't quote me on that one.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it
That
does,
main
it
one.
takes away your anxiety, and I'll
Yeah.
use it. A specific client I have, I'll use it on her 5 or 10 minutes before we do ART therapy
Yeah.
because I need her to be calmer.
Yep.
Because then she's not seeing red, she's seeing the script that I'm doing. But what
Yeah, I
I was
like
gonna
that.
say was, not to be hippy dippy, but I think it's important that you did that, and just to show that you're there and you're important.
Yeah.
And I lost my track of thought. So go
Yeah.
ahead.
I've already done that like twice. I can't wait to watch the episode. I'll be like, oh, that's where I lost my.
Yeah.
But it happens, but
Yeah.
that's well. I hope the audience, and that's why it's grown over the years. It's authentic.
Yeah. It's
You know,
just
it's just
us. It's
too.
not pause and go.
Yeah, we're not reading. I'm not reading a script or anything. Why would I do that when I have an amazing person that's dedicated, so much time of her life to helping other people? Just drove 3.5 hours. Why would I need a script with somebody like that? I'm just gonna tap into the energy that's
Yeah.
already come to the studio.
Oh, that's what I was gonna say. Energy, yeah. So the aura that we have, right? There you go. See,
Yeah.
help me out. So a few months ago, I had a training that I did, and we randomly got put into groups, and we had to do check-ins with each other on a specific scenario we were given, right? And I got anxious because I was like, "Oh, you're gonna put me on the couch? I don't want to be on the couch. It's the client's time to be on the couch." So, when we did the scenarios, I noticed that when the individual was talking to me about the scenario, it didn't feel real, right? But I could also tell through the years of experience that something behind their eyes was bugging them.
Mm.
So I paused the conversation and I said, "Why don't we change it from the classroom scenario to whatever might be bugging you? I'm a trusting person. You're a trusting person. We're both professionals. Let's be real for a few minutes." And we were, and it was a very, very touching conversation for both of us.
Yeah, I love it.
And we were both able to clean it up and relate to it, actually, to where the second part of the class, it was my turn to be in the hot seat. And I was slightly vulnerable because I felt that
Yeah.
comfortability with the person.
Yeah.
And I think it has to do a lot with the energy because
Yeah.
I've been with people where I don't get the energy back and I'll just fakely tell you, "Yeah, I'm fine. I'm doing
Yeah.
great. Life is awesome. Kids
Yeah.
are good."
The good
You
and
know?
fine club, I
Yeah,
call it.
yeah. Yeah, so it's all about your energy, like
Yeah.
how you carry yourself, how you present yourself, and trying to be authentic as much as you can.
Yeah, I think it's great. We've done such amazing work. We've overcome, these
Mhm.
tremendous hurdles. Like, there's energy in that. There's
Yeah.
power in that, and that's given me the ability to teach others
Mhm.
because I work a lot in mental health, addiction. And I've never met an alcoholic that takes anything personally. Oh my God! Relax.
Yeah.
Take a breath.
Yeah.
Take a breath instead of a drink. I try to teach people, and
Mhm.
it's very difficult, but I think heart
Yeah.
trumps everything.
Yeah.
Because when I went back to school, I never had a professor teach me heart.
Mhm.
But when you find ways, like
Yeah.
you found your way, I found my way out of the hole, there's a certain something in that,
Yeah.
you know?
Mhm.
And I try to teach others, look, what other people think of you is none of your business.
Yeah.
And you're getting the reaction to that
Mhm.
because you're putting your nose where it doesn't
Yeah.
belong. And it will produce that same result over and over and over. And
Yeah.
if you have the brain disorder of addiction,
Mhm.
you're going to use
Yeah.
because you're giving this energy
Mhm.
too much and it's internalizing.
Yeah.
So how do you but at the same time it's great. I love it.
Yeah.
It's so
Yeah.
satisfying, rewarding. How do you teach somebody to do that?
Mhm.
Like that's the secret sauce,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
wow, what an awesome episode. What an awesome podcast. If somebody wanted to get, is there anything else you would like to say before we start wrapping it up, like that
Um,
we didn't cover or
I think just I wanted to mention like the trainings examples that I've done is the first one that really got me to be the buy-in to the first responder community was the one where Drew Masters came into Naples and did UCF Restores class. And the first day was mostly textbook, psychological awareness, some of their stories and stuff. And the second day was really what I was looking for. And I think you and I were in the same one in
we were?
Hillsboro,
Yeah.
where you get to put the gear on,
Yeah,
right?
with
And the way
Kimberly.
more than I did, probably with all the boots and the helmets and stuff.
Yeah.
But just to see their scenarios, feel how they're constricted and restricted to doing their jobs, and
Mm,
how they can't have the brain of dad, their brain of mom, the brain of uncle or father,
yeah.
while they're at the fire because, Drew put me in a scenario where there was a baby's crib in there. And the minute I touched the bars, you did not have to tell me what it was. I
Mm,
knew it because I've raised 3 kiddos in
yeah.
my life.
Yeah.
And I had to switch that off to where, oop, it's not a crib, it's a emergency and we need to go and keep
Yeah.
searching. So um I've done fire trainings
Yep.
with you as
Yep.
well, and then FDLE. I've done the Department of Law Enforcement training where they put you into a scenario of an active shooter,
Yeah.
and they teach you about that. And then they had amazing stories of people coming in and talking to us about what they've been through, how
Yeah.
they've overcome their traumas and their dips, right? Because everybody goes through a
Yep.
dip and how they've
Yep.
overcome it.
Yep.
So I think just if you're curious about first responders, go and sign up for any of those trainings that
Yeah.
might be available,
Integrate.
and then integrate yourself and become that competent, culturally
Yep.
competent person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, you got somebody's life on the line.
Yeah.
It's the right thing to do.
Yeah.
If you're not confident, just stop, and look at maybe why you're not,
Yeah.
and why am I trying to go into a space that I'm not confident in?
Mhm.
Like so. Um, yeah, that training you and I did, Kimberly and
Mhm.
Evelyn did a phenomenal
Yes.
job,
Yeah.
and the other fella there, Kobe.
Yeah. I can see his face. Yeah,
That's
yeah.
all
I know
slim.
who
I
you
love
yeah.
this
He
person.
was
That
awesome.
he
He was
was
awesome.
he
He did
was
not care about the F-bombs or anything.
correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was great. But Evelyn was a phenomenal actress. She
Yeah.
had me like getting like
Yeah.
when they did the box,
Yeah.
and it was a simulated fire, and then the truck came in,
Mhm.
and then the mother Evelyn
And they had to
was at
drag out the
the,
simulated
the simulated body
child that
child.
had to be CPR'd and then declared dead.
But
Yeah,
her acting, I
I
even
know.
complimented her after she started laughing. "Oh, thank you." So I was like, I'm sitting there like,
I was crying.
yeah, oh my God,
So,
my child, like,
yeah,
but it
my
really.
therapist friend that I talked about, she was actually in that class. Her name is Katie.
I remember some woman saying to me, "Oh my God, I'm crying." So
Yeah, and
maybe that was her.
she and I were talking almost daily, on any
Yeah,
of the social media platforms or
yeah,
even texting.
yeah,
And she's my person that I go to when I, therapeutically hit a
yeah,
wall or therapeutically need another
yeah.
opinion. And she's phenomenal. But she and I were both bawling
Oh
out
yeah,
because
yeah. Evelyn did
that was superb training. And as a spouse, that was also a
yeah,
very,
yeah, for
touching
sure.
feeling.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're a mom. It's in you,
Mhm.
nature,
Yeah.
Mother Nature. It's in you, like.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, Great. Any last minute stuff before
No, I think we're good.
yeah, we
I
did
think we had
good,
a great
right?
conversation.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was wonderful.
Yeah.
So if somebody did wanted to reach out to you,
Mhm.
how would they do that? Like, what would be the best way to get you? IG, email?
Instagram could be Natalia German, LMHC. Facebook, if you have Facebook, as well as Psychology Today, you can search for my name, Natalia German,
Awesome. Do you have
and
an
send me a
email?
text or an email over there. My email is ngermancounseling@gmail.com.
Can't get any better than that.
Yeah.
And if that wasn't enough,
Mm-hmm.
I'll play second fiddle here. Uh, Obviously the same as Natalia. We're all over the place. You can
Yeah.
find me anyways. Google. If for whatever reason you want to email me, it's tim.r@beachway.com. And between the two of us, I guarantee you, if we can't help you, we know somebody that
Yeah.
can.
Absolutely.
And until next time, my friends,
Yeah.
Natalia and I, we wish you peace and love.